But Leslie, in the last of the men's quarterfinals action today at Forest Hills, defending champion Manuel Orentez and Wimbledon champion Bjorn Borg will meet, as do Ili Nastasi and Dick Stockton. Tomorrow in the women's semifinals, it will be Chris Evert against Mima Jausevic, and Diane Frumholtz will meet Yvonne Goolagong. CBS and Channel 13 will carry the Open Saturday beginning at 3 and Sunday at 4. Jack Nicklaus is the heavy favorite to win the World Open Golf Tournament that begins today in Pinehurst, North Carolina. In that tournament, Nicklaus' chief opponents will be Hale Irwin, Hubert Green, Ben Crenshaw, and rookie Jerry Pate. Last night in the majors, the Expos swept their doubleheader with the Cardinals. They won the first game 7-5 and then took the second game 8-7. Joe Kerrigan won his second game and Tom Walker lost his first against no wins. The Braves topped the Padres 3-1. Rod Gilbert snapped a 1-1 deadlock in the 10th with a run-scoring single for the win. Leon collected the win. Johnson was tagged for that loss. The San Francisco Giants shut out the Dodgers 1-0, but it took 11 innings to do it in. Halicki got the win and Charlie Huff the loss. The Angels won over the Kansas City Royals 2-0, giving the Royals their fourth loss in a row and their 9th in 10 games. Al Fitzmaurice was the Royals' loser and Dick Drago the winner for the Angels. Lyman Bostock smashed 4 hits, scored 2 runs, and batted in another to lead the Twins to a 3-1 victory over the Texas Rangers in a game that was called after 7 due to rain. The only homer was scored by Tom Grieve in the second. Boggs was the loser and Lober the winner. The White Sox edged the A's 6-5. Bill Stein and Jim Spencer homered in the 5th for Chicago. A win for the A's would have meant a chance for them to pick up extra ground on the Kansas City Royals, but the White Sox helped out the Royals there with their win over the A's. Knapp picked up his second win, and Rollie Fingers lost his 10th. Well, Leslie, that's about it in sports, but don't forget that the Bucks will play their first regular season game against the Houston Oilers in Houston on Sunday. So stick around. I hope that that'll be the first regular season win for the Bucks. Whenever I hear people talk about football and great quarterbacks, 3 quarterbacks come to mind: John Brodie, John Unitas, and Bart Starr. And with me is John Brodie. And John, I'm so glad to have you here. What are you doing in the Tampa Bay area anyway?
Well, Sherry, actually, I'm just here because last week I was in Orlando doing a golf tournament, and in about 3 weeks I'm going to be doing another one similarly in the area. And I like Florida, and I'm kind of involved with social purposes, and I put on clinics, and I connected up with the United Churches, and they're organizing how I can best go out and do that. And as a matter of fact, we're going to do one here in the latter part of March, and just so that the charities go to certain social programs, and some of the kids can get out and do their thing, and if I can help them a little bit, I like it.
Mm-hmm. What kind of clinics do you have? Football?
This would be a specific football clinic, yeah. I wear 2 hats. I could play football once, and I have an awful lot of viewpoints that I've grabbed from having played. And then being a broadcaster, I've developed an awful lot of clinical workability that I think a lot of kids enjoy and can use. And so for coaches and kids in high school, I think it's pretty important that they get off doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm. You've been a broadcaster for a few years now. Has that changed your whole attitude and viewpoint to football?
Well, no, I think it's strengthened it, you know. I always loved the game, but because of the people that played it, you know, and having had an opportunity to get around with all of them, it really strengthened. And what these guys are about is something everybody ought to have an opportunity to see. And, you know, it's always been my thought that if a broadcaster could just get out, having been one, and articulate what actually goes on, he could coordinate with the man who does the play-by-play and is more accurate as to what's really going on and keeping the show on the road. Maybe we could add a little input and you could have an accurate production.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you, everyone, it seems, is striking. Football players, baseball players. Why are the players striking? What is it that they don't like?
Okay, this is my opinion.
Okay.
It's simply that the ball players don't like it any more than the public, okay? And when you put somebody in charge to help your situation and make a deal or negotiate for a better condition or what have you, you give him an awful lot of your rights. And with this freedom comes responsibility, and I think the ball players are understanding their responsibility right now. They're trying to find a way to get a deal to be made, and up to here, there's been a lot of deal breaking and very little deal making, and that never gets anything done. And I think the ball players are just about ready to maybe either change their representation or get into agreement. I mean, first you have to agree on things that different sides are about, and then you can start figuring out a way to get it working. Right now they've been putting most of their attention on their differences. Well, everybody has a few of those, you know.
If you were a player right now, how would you stand as far as a strike?
How would I stand? I don't like strikes, you know. It's my opinion that if the people that play and the people that run the show understood more about one another and understood that this game has been great to both sides, and it's been great to the public, but it's not going to be great. They're not going to like it much longer, you know. I mean, if I'm a fan, I look at a guy that plays for my team, and I know that he wants to be involved in my area. He's putting his best foot forward for that group, and that's what the player wants to do. And let's get it back on the road. And sometimes there's an awful lot of things being said for people that aren't accurately stated.
When you were a player, you played for 17 years for San Francisco, and that in itself, I think, is sort of an oddity, a quarterback sticking with one team for so many years. Who were some of the teams and players that you just hated to see come up against?
Well, I really enjoyed the whole thing, but there were certain guys that gave me a bit more trouble than others, and you know, most of them that stick out in my mind were defensive linemen, guys like Deacon Jones and Merlin Olsen and Bob Lilly, Gino Marchetti. But you know, they're coming down the pike and they're getting bigger and stronger and they're shrinking the field to where I don't think a quarterback really looks forward to playing against any of those defensive linemen right now.
It's always been said that football players are dumb. It's not true any longer, are they? Is it?
Well, I wouldn't make a generality. I think we're probably just like any other section of society, you know. There's a lot of dumb ones, there's a lot of smart ones, and there's a lot of fun ones, there's a lot of boring ones. We're a group of people, and I think we are more and more becoming exposed as that.
Okay. Thank you, John. You've been wonderful. And that's it in sports. And once again, here's Leslie Spencer.